Hello, everyone. I'm Lauren Hubele here with my favorite astrologer, Jyoti Wind. Jyoti, you're all ready to wrap up this 2024 for us today, I hear.
Yes, and bless it.
Yeah, let's bless it and all of us going into the next year.
Yes, yes.
So, what is our first aspect, Jyoti?
I'd like to look at the winter solstice chart. The winter solstice starts on December 21st at 2:21 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And it gives the sun 0 degrees Capricorn, that's the winter solstice, and it gives the moon in Virgo. So there's other aspects going on in the chart, and the theme I feel like is who am I and where am I going?
Yeah.
Who am I at this point in time? What do I want to take with me into this new cycle, this solstice quarter of the year? And there's the question of, with the sun squaring Neptune, who am I now? What do I want for myself at this point in time? And so there's a couple aspects. Mars is still opposing Pluto by 4 degrees, so it's moved away a little bit and now starting to come back. And so that intensity, that looking at what's the transformative process about for each of us personally is up.
Jyoti, you mentioned there was that Virgo had a relationship with the solstice. What is Virgo's relationship?
The moon's in Virgo as we go into this next quarter.
Okay, what might that bring up?
Well, Moon in Virgo is very much about alternative health and healing.
Mm.
They like they're very interested. People with strong Virgo are very interested in health and diet and exercise and just health in general. And so the sun and moon are trine by sign, not necessarily by degree, but they're both earth signs, sun in Capricorn, moon in Virgo. And so there's a real practical application, a real sense of who am I because of the square to Neptune with the sun, and with the moon in Virgo, how do I take things apart and see what's working and what's not?
Hmm. It feels like that energy's been around for a little bit, that maybe it's coming into a more powerful point.
I think so, because Mars is retrograde, as we've
Mhm.
noticed, and it's just dancing in this opposition with Pluto. And so that is continuing, and for the next couple astro updates we do, that's going to still be the theme.
Hmm.
And even more so as we get toward the end of the year, because Mars in its retrograde motion is getting closer and closer in its opposition to Pluto.
I find this really interesting at this moment because we also know we're living on a terrain that's changing, right? It's changing very quickly, and this idea of pausing and go in relationship to all this. Now, who am I and where am I going? We already know where the collective is going, but where am I
Yes.
going? Right?
Yes, and we're also part of the collective.
Yeah.
Like it or not, this is where we
Yeah.
find ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the winter solstice also has Venus trine Jupiter, which anytime Venus and Jupiter are dancing with each other, there is always the caution against extravagance. It's a great aspect. It says, luck, things flowing, feeling good about yourself, feeling like you're in the right place at the right moment sometimes. But one has to always keep a side eye on extravagance, that we're not overdoing it, or we're not purchasing something that 2 weeks later we're going to look at and go, what am I going to do with this? You
Mhm.
know, So there's always that caution with Venus and Jupiter of not overdoing.
Hmm. Like push pause and think about it for a bit.
Give yourself 24 hours and then decide, do I still want that? Or do I still want to do that? Or do I want to sign up for that or download that or whatever it happens to be? And it's not like work. It's more the indulgences.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost as if the commercial world knows that aspect's up
Yeah,
because we get prompted with all these wonderful offers this time of year, change your life courses and
absolutely.
yeah,
Yes, and you could look at it like this. Mars is opposing Pluto. This is kind of difficult and pushing for transformation. And over here, you've got Venus trine Jupiter, and it's like, this is such hard work. I just need to
yeah.
overdo and have chocolate cake and chocolate cookies and piece of pie and, all this other stuff. So, they can help each other and it can give you a little bit of an escape hatch, but you just got to keep it within check. You've got to be consciously using that escape hatch.
Yeah, in moderation.
In moderation, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I love
One would think you were a Libra.
that.
Yes.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So
But we know about moderation. Go
yeah,
ahead.
what comes next after the solstice?
So on Christmas Eve, and that's not to say it's not happening before or after, it is, but Jupiter is squaring Saturn. And so it takes us back to its conjunction, the last conjunction it had when Jupiter and Saturn were together, um, back in January of 2020. And
Hmm.
that was just
Yeah,
before the
yeah.
pandemic and the lockdown and all of that stuff. And so it's saying what from that time frame is still there and does it serve you?
I imagine a lot of folks have a lot that was interrupted at that time that they may have not even completed.
And what did you put in place to survive that time
Oh,
that now
mhm.
at this, because two planets come together and then at a certain point, depending on their cycles, they have their first square. Then they have an opposition, then they have the final square, and then they're back to conjunct again. That's the cycle of aspects of planets. So this is its first square since its conjunction in 2020, January. And so it's its first square and it's saying, okay, how are you doing? The choices you made in January of 2020, how are they still influencing you? And what can you let go of that no longer needs to be there? And then keep what works and move on. In and of itself, Jupiter square Saturn is fat and thin, plenty and scarcity. So it always wants a balance between what, when it's fat, how do you put some aside for when it's going to get skinny again?
So
It's just an up and down,
are you talking about resources?
everything. I'm even talking about blood sugar.
Hmm.
Jupiter square Saturn is blood sugar issues. Lots, nothing. Lots, nothing.
A fluctuation.
Yes, that fluctuation. And so can be financial, flow of money, and then all of a sudden it got real thin again.
Hmm. And
Then it got plenty.
how long does that aspect continue?
It's going to be around for a little while, not too long, a couple weeks.
Okay.
And it's kind of happening already right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a flow and then it thins out and then there's a flow and then it thins out. And so it's just trying to find the balance and the flow between those two extremes.
Yeah.
Okay? And it happens to be exact Christmas Eve which is a time of just, trying to balance the day more than anything. Don't be extravagant. Oh, I forgot a gift. All right, let me get the most expensive gift, in my sights in order to make up for it. Or, my examples might be out to lunch, but that's the idea. That's the idea.
Okay.
Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is the new moon on December 30th. Just before the new year, there's a new moon at 3:27 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Um, what's interesting to me is that transiting Pluto is exactly trining the South Node. And this is like, it's a trine, so it's an aspect of ease and flow. And the South Node is our past. So Pluto is giving us generally, maybe not specifically, but generally, an opportunity to shed our past, to shed the stories we tell, to shed parts of our identity that don't have to go with us into this next new year, this new phase. So Pluto is giving us an opportunity to shed all of that, like a snake sheds its skin.
Well, it's lovely that that comes right after the solstice question of who am I and where am I going.
Yes.
Make that little shopping list there of what you want to let go of and hang on to it for that new moon.
Yeah, and then just let it go.
Beautiful.
So this new moon is also about setting goals, being flexible, and in the shedding of Pluto with the South Node, sometimes it's also people. Sometimes people can't go with us where we're going, or we can't go where they're going, and it's not personal. It could be a friend, it could be a business partner, it could be, a neighbor, whatever. It's just sometimes we're not, our dharma, our life path is not the same, and there comes to a junction, and it's time to just let it go.
Hmm.
And it's not personal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's important to remember. It's just run its course.
Yes, yes. And you came together for whatever specifics were necessary, and and everybody had their enjoyment of it, let's say, and then its time was up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last thing I want to look at is the fact that this is the stepping into 2025, just little toe in there. Mercury catches up on January 2nd, so its whole retrograde cycle is done. We move into new territory. And also on January 2nd, Mars opposed Pluto is exact. Mars is still retrograde. It's gone back to exactly oppose Pluto. Mars at 1 degree Leo and Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius. They are exact again. And then Mars will continue retrograding back, and it will come forward again and oppose Pluto, but that's down the road. So we're ending Mercury's cycle completely for this phase, this round, and Mars opposing Pluto exactly is, we're just stepping into the new year, and already it's like what's working for you and what's not.
Mhm.
And what do you absolutely not want to take with you?
Wow. Sounds like some really good opportunities to take inventory these coming
Yes,
weeks. Yeah.
yes, it is.
Right.
And let go of what's not working. Mars retrograde with Pluto, I mean, it's an intensity. So we are going into the new year on an intense aspect. So it's not to say goodbye 2024, that this was a difficult year and 2025 is just going to be, a party. It's not.
I think we already see that coming, Jyoti.
Yes. Excuse me. And so it's like like people used to ask me, They don't ask me anymore, but they used to ask me, Jyoti, when are we going back to the way things used to be? Where it wasn't so intense. And it's like, we're not going back.
Yeah.
We're just going forward and going through the things we need to go through in order as a collective of the race of humanity to keep evolving and keep moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. Jyoti, as I'm listening to you, I'm reminded of something you said maybe back a episode or two about this period of time that dreams may be stronger and more profound. Is this still true?
Um, I think so. I think anything that you can use and access
Yeah,
deeper levels of awareness for yourself. I mean, Neptune's still in Pisces,
yeah,
use dreams. And Neptune and Saturn are going to come together in Pisces before they both jump into Aries in the spring. So use your dream life, use your therapy, use your meditation life, use your daydreaming and and art and music and creativity as a as part of your own work, as part of as a tool for your own understanding.
yeah. And that's really Neptune energy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's very Neptunian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking behind the veil.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool. Anything else we should know?
No, not
Okay.
now. I think
Okay.
this is enough.
But I think this really ties up the year nicely in a lot of ways, and you've made it really succinct, and the themes are pretty clear here,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah,
Yes.
take account of who wants to move forward and how you're going to do it, and get rid of everything you don't need.
Yes. Yes. And it's not even at January 1st to make new resolutions yet. It's
No,
it's still up until then looking at what can't go forward, what you don't want to take forward with you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. Thanks, Jyoti.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks for another good year of recordings too. Appreciate
Oh,
that.
thank you.
Yeah.